A gravitational arc candidate at Redshift near 4.4 has appeared in public James Webb data, revealing structure from when the universe was less than 1.5 billion years old. This is Fascinating Frontiers, episode 155. Astronomer Homer Davila Gutierrez identified the feature in images of the galaxy cluster MACS J0308.9 plus 2645. The arc shows a photometric redshift near 4.4 and had not been catalogued before. The discovery paper is under review at Publications of the Astronomical Society of Japan. Follow-up spectroscopy will be needed to confirm the distance and magnification. The arc appears stretched by the cluster's mass, offering a magnified glimpse of an early galaxy. The newly identified gravitational arc at photometric redshift near 4.4 offers a magnified view of a galaxy from the universe's first 1.5 billion years. Its discovery in archival James Webb data shows how public datasets continue to yield surprises when examined with fresh eyes. Confirmation will require spectra to pin down the exact distance and lens mass. What fraction of similar high redshift features remain hidden in existing Webb pointings? Now, on a completely different note, Astrobase has completed the initial test firing of an 800 kilonewton class engine, developed entirely by a private Indian team. The engine is intended for a future launch vehicle that would place satellites into low Earth orbit. No prior Indian private company has reached this thrust level. The test marks a step toward reducing reliance on government launch providers for medium-class payloads. Next steps include integrated stage testing and a planned orbital demonstration flight. The effort draws on domestic engineering expertise to achieve performance comparable to established medium-lift systems. From one early universe surprise to another private sector milestone that could help us reach distant targets more affordably. NASA engineers have adjusted Voyager 2's power management so its remaining science instruments can operate through at least 2027. The 48-year-old probe is now in interstellar space and continues to return data on the heliopause boundary. The latest change involved turning off non-essential heaters and reallocating wattage from the radioisotope thermoelectric generator. No new hardware failures have been reported since the adjustment. The spacecraft's instruments now measure plasma waves and magnetic fields far beyond the sun's influence. While new rockets take shape on Earth, an established explorer just gained extra time to keep reporting from interstellar space. During its quarterly earnings call, SpaceX confirmed it intends to establish robotic factories on the Moon. The company expects autonomous systems to handle most construction and assembly tasks. Initial hardware would support propellant production and structural components. The timeline remains tied to successful Starship landings and power infrastructure. This development fits yesterday's coverage of Starship progress by showing how recovered hardware could enable sustained lunar operations. While private firms look to the Moon, Canada is locking in its contribution to the Lunar Gateway. The Canadian Space Agency has confirmed continued funding for the Canadarm3 robotic system destined for the Lunar Gateway. The arm will feature advanced autonomy and artificial intelligence for maintenance tasks. Canadian industry partners will supply the hardware and ground control systems. Delivery remains aligned with the Artemis program schedule. The design includes multiple end effectors capable of handling diverse payloads and repair operations. From robotic systems heading to the Moon to fresh JWST clues about how galaxies themselves first took shape. New analysis suggests the compact red objects discovered by the James Webb Space Telescope could represent an early stage in spiral galaxy formation. Their spectral features indicate dense stellar cores surrounded by gas that may later settle into disks. The objects appear at redshifts between 4 and 7. Further observations will test whether they grow through mergers or in-place star formation. The findings come from detailed examination of Webb's near-infrared spectra, from galaxy formation to another fundamental imprint left by the early universe. Researchers report that the rotation directions of both spiral and elliptical galaxies still carry imprints from tidal torques exerted by surrounding matter in the early universe. The study compared observed spin alignments with predictions from tidal torque theory. Data came from large spectroscopic surveys covering millions of galaxies. The findings support the idea that initial conditions set billions of years ago remain detectable today. Alignment statistics were measured across multiple redshift bins to trace the signal's persistence. Uranus orbits at an average distance of 2.9 billion kilometers, yet its magnetosphere experiences the solar wind's push on a 17-hour cycle because the planet rolls on its side like a barrel. Imagine standing on the surface while a 400 kilometer per second stream of charged particles slams into a magnetic field that itself spins perpendicular to the flow. The bow shock can shift inward or outward by several planetary radii within one rotation. Voyager 2's 1986 flyby recorded only a single moment of this breathing motion, leaving the full daily pattern to be modeled from limited data. The planet's magnetic axis is also offset by roughly 60 degrees from its spin axis, so the shock front never settles into the stable shape seen at Earth or Jupiter. We can calculate the geometry with increasing precision, but the key unanswered question remains: how these repeated compressions and expansions influence the rate at which atmospheric ions escape into space, and whether any radiation belts can persist under such variable pressure. The August 8 astronomy picture of the day shows periodic comet 10P/Tempel 2 passing near several well-known Messier galaxies and nebulae. The image captures the comet's faint coma against a backdrop of deep sky targets. Tempel 2 reaches perihelion every 5.5 years and currently lies in the constellation Taurus. Observers with modest telescopes can still locate it under dark skies this month. The comet's nucleus is estimated at a few kilometers across and releases dust and gas as it approaches the sun. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson stated that nuclear fission systems will supply the sustained energy needed for long-duration Mars surface operations. The approach would provide kilowatts of electricity independent of sunlight or dust storms. Current development focuses on a 10-kilowatt class fission surface power unit. Engineers plan ground testing before any flight demonstration. The system is designed to operate continuously through the Martian night and during dust events that reduce solar panel output. Students in Kenya conducted the country's first live amateur radio conversation with the International Space Station. The contact lasted several minutes and allowed participants to ask questions directly to the crew. The event was coordinated through the ARISIS program and local radio clubs. Organizers hope to expand similar educational links in East Africa. The session demonstrated reliable signal acquisition despite the station's rapid orbital motion. NASA's Skyfall helicopter concepts will incorporate lightweight capes containing sensors and communication hardware. The fabric-like layers are designed to survive dust and temperature extremes while adding minimal mass. Each cape integrates with the rotorcraft's power and avionics systems. The technology aims to extend mission range beyond current Ingenuity capabilities. The capes also provide thermal regulation during the cold Martian nights. Engineers are troubleshooting a propulsion or attitude control issue on the private Link spacecraft launched last month to service a NASA telescope. The vehicle remains in a stable orbit while teams upload diagnostic commands. Mission managers have not yet set a new rendezvous timeline. The spacecraft was intended to demonstrate commercial satellite servicing techniques. Ground teams continue to monitor telemetry for clues to the anomaly's origin. A privately funded mission aimed at boosting a declining NASA astrophysics satellite has run into its own technical setbacks. The rescue spacecraft must perform a precise rendezvous and attachment before the target observatory loses too much altitude. Teams are evaluating alternative docking approaches. No revised launch or rendezvous date has been announced. The observatory continues its slow orbital decay while engineers refine the rescue plan. Industry and academic leaders gathered at the 46th COSPAR Scientific Assembly to discuss how new engineering approaches can enable future space science missions. Sessions covered propulsion, materials, and autonomy for deep space observatories and planetary probes. participants highlighted the need for tighter integration between instrument teams and spacecraft designers. The meeting continues through the week in Busan, South Korea. Discussions also addressed radiation-hardened electronics and long-duration power systems. New data keep arriving from both fresh launches and decades-old probes. The sky is far from finished with us. Keep an eye on upcoming stage integration tests for the new Indian engine as teams prepare for orbital demonstration. That covers today's space and science news. Share this with a fellow space enthusiast if you found it interesting. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. See you tomorrow. And if you'd rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at NERA Network. Links in the show notes. Quick tip from the network. Try Planetarian Daily next. Daily breakthroughs in science, health, and longevity. Every NERA Network show is free at neranetwork.com. Want the written briefing with source links? Each show keeps a summaries page on neranetwork.com. Scannable, dated, and free. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.